Chicago, Chi-Town, 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 Monday Night Raw tonight. And man, we're 2 weeks away from WrestleMania. I gotta say, they hyped this show up really well since we gotta burn through time. So they better be putting their all into it as the next 2 weeks are gonna be very hectic going into WrestleMania. I do feel like it's still been hyped up pretty good, but it has kind of, been an up and down type of road right now. And I haven't say it's been for the best, but Monday Night Raw sold out in Allstate Arena tonight, Chicago, Illinois. Obviously, they went with the stage setup like they did at Survivor Series. I guess just to fit more people in the building. So I guess about 15,000 people apparently. So yeah, smaller stage tonight just to fit more people in the Monday Night Raw. But we did kick it off with Cody Rhodes. He basically talked about his promo from SmackDown with Roman Reigns, which honestly wasn't really all that. Last Friday, it was kind of whatever, and I felt like they were just kind of standing around waiting for something. So wasn't really that good on SmackDown. But basically, Cody Rhodes talked about how Roman called him a politician and whatnot, and a promise that that he can't keep, but he knows Chicago, that he can make a promise, and basically talked about all the things he's done for paying for these bachelor parties or going to a kid's birthday party and whatnot. And he said he has to pretend to be a champion while the real champion isn't here. He respects Roman Reigns, but he screwed him out of his dream last year, and he said he hates his guts. But now he wants to talk about him and his cousin The Rock want to have a wank fest and everything. But Cody says, I won the Royal Rumble and I cannot do this alone. So Cody said he's going to ask for something back, and he wants something from the fans that he's going to fight at WrestleMania. But he wants everybody to point at the sign. Everybody point to the sign with him. Next thing you know, The Rock showed up, which I feel like he got a bigger pop than Cody because I think it was an initial surprise because I didn't even think Rock was even going to be there in Chicago tonight. But this was an unadvertised appearance. The Rock came out. He got a big pop. Well, shit, if I was a bigger pop than Cody, honestly, but he got a big pop. He came to the ring. We got the whole Hollywood Rock thing going on. And as him and Cody stood there, fans chanted, "Holy shit!" They cheered Rocky. Then they booed the Rock. Then they chanted, "This is awesome." Then they did a CM Punk chant because it's Chicago. And Rock just put his arms behind his back and he walked up to Cody and whispered into his ear as and he left. As the fans chanted, "Rock, you suck," and Cody looked on, which now still is going to make everybody question, is The Rock a double agent right now for the Bloodline, and will probably turn on him? Well, given tonight, this may answer a lot of questions, but I may think a little bit different out of this. But a good promo from Cody and The Rock coming out there being a big surprise, which got the crowd hyped up, big time for it. Right after that, Judgment Day were in the back, basically telling JD McDonough, you got to beat Ricochet tonight. It was a good match, I will say that. I think given Chicago, I think that's the only reason why this match was really over because you don't really see a lot, I guess. Well, Ricochet, you're going to get a lot of pops from his big moves and stuff, which a lot of it was pretty cool, doing the whole Poison Rana or what, JD McDonough trying to put him up with a Devlin slide and counter that into like a Canadian destroyer. That was pretty cool, okay? And Dominic being involved in the match, finally getting ejected, knocking Ricochet off the top rope, which got a big pop as he got headed to the back. JD tried to get him, but Ricochet ended up hitting him with a shooting star press while JD was standing and pinning him for the win. So a good opening match to still keep the crowd very hyped up for the show. Next was probably the best thing on this show until the end of the whole show. This is where I feel like the show kind of peaked from here because it was CM Punk returning back to Chicago. We haven't seen him in a few months since after the Royal Rumble, due to the whole tricep tear. But CM Punk was back. It's clobbering time. And this is, I feel like this was just great. Punk just went on, he's got the microphone, he's on top of the table, he's just cheering with the fans and all this stuff, but let's get straight to business. WrestleMania is coming, and yes, he's not 100%, but his mouth works. We're not on Netflix yet, but he knows what AJ's talking about. April, his wife. But Punk went on to talk about, there's a lot of things that's gonna happen to WrestleMania. Who could host it, and so he didn't know, and talked about it's been 10 years and whatnot, but a lot of that is beneath him right now. Because now a lot of people wonder, could he be the special guest referee for a certain title match that's coming up? And then he looked at Pat McAfee. I talked about his show and everything, but Punk says, I listened to the Experience in the Drive-Thru, which is Jim Cornette's podcast. So I thought it was a cool shout out to Jim Cornette he did right there, giving his podcast shows. Great stuff. But Punk went on um, to talk about Roman Reigns then. And, he respected Roman Reigns, but, we're going to meet some at some point down the line. So he's going to climb that mountain to get to him. Punk then went on to Seth Rollins then, talking about, yes, he looks a little bit taller than him since he's wearing high heels and stuff. But, you know, he's paid the price for 15 years of being a wrestler, being hurt right now, but that's coming from someone with two bad knees. Talking about Seth, he talked about The Rock. Then say it's been about 10 years, and that The Rock may be ducking him. And just like he said years ago, your arms are too short to box with God. He talked about Drew then, and he says, I don't live on the internet, but if you have a problem with someone in Chicago, you come handle it like a man. But Drew came out then. Say like turn my, Punk said turn his stupid music off, and I'm not medically cleared, but I still want a match. And Punk says, why don't you get your bitch ass in here then? Which, by the way, Punk was just great on the mic throughout this whole thing, just interrupting people all the time. Every time someone said something, Drew went on to talk about, I'd love to get in the ring with you, but you don't deserve it. He ended up going to the top of the announce table then, and I got he's got the shirt on. I guess one of Punk's shirts, but like in his own version of it. Punk said, "I never had to put another man's name on a shirt just to sell it." As Drew basically, tore out the shirt and oh, careful, I may hurt one of my biceps and whatnot. Which. McIntyre's just trying to go up Punk on his injuries, but as he's on top of the table and stuff, saying I don't hate you and everything, and I know you don't drunk drink, you spend all your time in rehab and stuff, but right now I'm going to WrestleMania and you are not, and I'm not going to get in the ring with you because you could have a weapon and try to take me out with it. It's too close to WrestleMania right now, and he's sitting on the announce table and everything, and Punk proving you didn't have a weapon by just doing snow angels in the ring. That was great. And then Drew talked about, listen, I've always been the chosen one. All right, Punk said, okay, who dubbed you the chosen one? Which basically, come on, we know who called him the chosen one, which is Vince McMahon. But I thought it even really popped the crowd. But I just thought it was funny because this was like a subtle shot at Vince and whatnot, saying like, who dubbed you the chosen one? The people didn't dub you the chosen one. We all know who did, even though we can't say his name on the show and whatnot. So I thought that was pretty funny. But hey, everybody likes to get on the, to go against Vince train right now since that's the new thing. Hey, ask Ronda Rousey. She's looking for clout and trying to sell a book right now. So you see how she's going to WWE. That's the new thing to do right now. But moving on from that, Punk basically went on, saying, get in the ring and whatnot. And you know what? I could be the guest commentator at WrestleMania and whatnot. So in some way you're going to see him there. But Seth Rollins came out then. And with Punk's reaction to when Seth Rollins came out was hilarious. Like the minute Rollins' music hit, Punk was just like, "Oh my god!" And just like hitting his head with the microphone was like, "This motherfucker right here, great! I got to deal with him now." And like this was just fun, okay. And Rollins just he just looks at Punk saying this is Monday Night Rollins, but CM Punk chants happen and Rollins says he knows he's at an away game right now. And okay, let's poll the crowd and everything. Do y'all want to see Punk on commentary? He says y'all want to see him as the referee, which the crowd went nuts for it. But Ron says he's only you don't have your referee arm, so Punk used his other arm to prove he can still referee with either arm. Okay. And Punk basically says, you know what? To be fair, I didn't think I had to be objective and whatnot, and basically called them both dipshits. What they censored it, and Rollins asked, Punk wanted to know what he thought. Punk's like, nope, I don't want to know what you think. And Rollins is going on saying like, we haven't crossed once and whatnot. You haven't crossed my mind, and that Punk is a non-factor for this title match. But you could be on the referee on commentary and whatnot, and you want to have your moment and everything. And Rollins basically said, commentary could be your finest hour and stuff. Basically Rollins he's still talking about the title on WrestleMania, but Punk says, you know what, I am going to sit on commentary, and I'm going to do something that both of you two couldn't do. in my 10-year absence and make this whole thing interesting. Okay, Punk ended up leaving. After that, he said, "Hit my music." Drew said, no, 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 I get the last word right now. You're obsessed with me. I'm living your dream, and you can't. You're my number one stan." Until Rollins ended up just super kicking and curb stomping him in. Okay, so this was a long segment, but this was worth every minute. Okay, this was just great because one thing Punk did do is finally make this Drew versus Seth Rollins match interesting at WrestleMania, because it hasn't really been interesting because one, Seth has been so focused mostly into the whole match with the Bloodline going on. Drew's the only one that actually cares about his match going into WrestleMania by still taking shots either Punk or Rollins. But nah, Punk made this very interesting, and just interrupting people every 5 seconds was great. This was fun. Okay, I enjoyed this whole promo. I definitely liked it a lot. I feel like he almost stole the whole segment from both Drew and Seth in a way, but Drew kept up on the mic too. Seth and whatever, he was there. But him just Punk's reactions to a lot of stuff was just hilarious. This is where I thought the show at peak because I didn't even see Candice LeRae and Ivy Nile. I literally went to the bathroom after this segment, and by the time I came back, it was already over. So all I know is that Candice beat Ivy with like a roll up pin or something, which it looked like the crowd did not really care, I guess, due to the Punk segment. Yeah, I will say this. At least they're trying to get Candice over as a heel right now. I don't mind that, doing it to help Maxine get over because of the whole people booing her at a house show thing. Yeah, I don't really care about that. So yeah, let's move on from there. Um, right after that, the New Day and DIY were talking. You can see Heyman and Drew talking in the back. New Day went against DIY. Truth and Miz were on commentary, but it ended in a no contest due to Judgment Day coming out and attacking everybody. Miz had finally got in the ring and got involved. Truth like, no, I'm commentary. I'm not fighting tonight. And he says, go to commercial break. Go to commercial break. But then they end up beating up Truth then, which Truth probably got the biggest pop out of that whole segment too. So, Truth over as ever. Cody was in the back being interviewed by Jackie Redmond. Basically, Cody didn't want to repeat, and he says a promise that The Rock will not be able to keep. They end up talking to Gunther in the back. I guess with his match with Sami Zayn, saying he can't beat him. Andrade went against Giovanni Vinci. Andrade won. It was a good match. I don't think the crowd really cared that much. I don't even know if they. I don't even know if people think Andrade is either a face or a heel. He's been talking to Judgment Day, but I feel like he may end up turning on Judgment Day anyway, even though he's not with them. But he keeps trying to talk to Dominic and Finn and whatnot. So I don't know what's really going on with that, but yeah, the match was good for what it was. Rhea Ripley and Dominic, which by the way, Dominic's been getting a lot of TV time tonight. This is probably like the third time we've seen him out here on this show. Ripley, Ripley and Dominic basically talked about how we're not getting enough attention, and Ripley talked about Becky Lynch then, saying I don't have to come out here every week and keep doing all these matches. Becky came out then, and even said like buy her book, it was a sign and whatnot. I thought it was pretty funny. So with Becky's new book right now, I got to promote that too. But she said the man has come around in Chicago. Fans are chanting Becky. Then Becky said, Ripley doesn't even wrestle on this show anymore. But Ripley says, I don't need to keep competing every week before the biggest match of my career is at WrestleMania. Okay. And Ripley basically said, I'm getting attention right now, as which is so funny. And let me kind of address this too, because I know that people been talking about Ripley over the weekend, and I think it's kind of hypocritical from the IWC that they're okay. I saw the whole stink face thing Ripley did, but they'll get mad if any other woman does it on the show, but Ripley gets a pass. But I guess that shows how hypocritical the IWC is. But I thought it was great. So, like I said, the stink face on the Ajax, I thought it was funny. It was great. I just see how fans on the internet for some reason wanted to get mad about that. So it's quite hilarious in a way. But obviously the IWC proves themselves as hypocrites. Becky then basically talked about Ripley saying, I have to win at WrestleMania. I've been busting my ass every night to prove I can get there. And Becky says, someone always coming around, trying to take your spot and whatnot. And that's what Ripley's trying to do again. And Becky says, I've survived. You haven't experienced it yet, but you will be the experience. Ripley basically says, you are a survivor and a cockroach, okay? But you're going to lose at WrestleMania, and soon enough that your daughter will be calling me mommy. And Becky basically said, you don't talk about my kid, and basically said that her dad never even got to meet her kid and whatnot, and excuse me, some words there, but that basically they would be proud for what she's done in the WWE. Becky basically says, like, if I was you, I wouldn't do that again. Dominic tried to do something like get on the mic and I guess go at Becky. Becky ended up punching her. Becky and Ripley start brawling. Then after that, um, Ripley ended up kicking Becky out of the ring and went to go help Dominic. Becky ran back up and jumped off the steel steps to onto Ripley and Dominic, attacking them again as referees and agents came out to break it up. Good segment from there. Sami Zayn was walking to the ring. Chad Gable was there again. I guess Gable apparently has all the answers on how to beat Gunther some way somehow, but Gable's like, you need to control your focus and whatnot, and you need to get your head out of your ass and everything and focus, okay? And Sammy basically says, I appreciate it, and I understand what you're trying to tell me, basically. So apparently, Gable has all the answers to defeat Gunther and tell Sammy on how to do it. Sami Zayn then went against Bronson Reed. Gunther watched on, which Bronson Reed actually won this match. Kind of odd to be having the number one contender who should be looking strong going into WrestleMania against the Intercontinental Champion, but taking an L to Bronson Reed all of a sudden doesn't really make a lot of sense, honestly. But I guess it's what to help Sammy motivate himself because he was pissed off in the back then, and Gable basically said, we need to take a different approach. So I guess Sammy was end up listening to him. So I guess this is supposed to make Sammy focus right now because I guess he can't do it and he doesn't know how to do it. And I guess once again, Gable has all the answers apparently. So I don't know. Weird way of doing things, I would say. But yeah, kind of odd to have the number one contender lose 2 weeks going into WrestleMania. Jey Uso, Jey Uso went against Shinsuke Nakamura. Not much to say from here. It was a good main event and all. Jey Uso won, not surprised. I know the Bloodline ended up getting involved. Cody and Seth came out and attacked the Bloodline. Then Drew came out and ended up attacking Seth Rollins and hit him with a future shot DDT. Jey Uso ended up winning the match with a super kick and a spear. But the cameras went back to Jimmy Uso and Cody brawling. Cody ended up throwing him out of the building. Solo tried to attack after that, but Cody got him. The Rock ended up showing him back up, which got a pretty big pop. And he says, "Look at you now. Look at you now. Look at you now. Look at you now." And he's throwing trash cans at Cody. He's saying, "Look at you now." Throwing him across the walls, the doors. He says, "Look at you now, boy. Get up. Get up. This is the final boss." He threw him outside into the rain because it is raining currently right here in Chicago right now. So, it's raining outside and he's just throwing him off to the production trucks, call him a son of a bitch. I know it was some words that were blocked out, but I guess only the live crowd. I guess he says, "You're going to see when you fuck with the final boss." But he says, Mama Rhodes, look at your son. Look at your son. And next thing you know, he threw him into the back. I almost thought he was gonna throw him over the ledge. It looked like that's what it looked like he was about to do, but it didn't end up happening. But Rock said, "You stuck your nose in my business for the last time." And as he's talking to the camera and whatnot. Obviously, Cody, bled from his forehead, blading and whatnot. But Rock says, "Look at the prophecy here, huh? Look at him." Look at him, and he took the weight belt off. It's got Mama Rhodes and whatnot. He smeared Cody's blood all over it, and he says, "This is what happens. Mama Rhodes told Cody, this is what happened. You need to look after your boy." And he says, your dad talked about hard times. You don't know nothing about hard times, okay? You know nothing of hard times. But listen, you don't fuck with the final boss. And Rock is just beating the hell out of Cody, just throwing him into the production truck and whatnot, or not even the production truck. That was actually Cody's tour bus. What am I talking about? Production truck. Cody's tour bus and whatnot. It says, "Look at your son." And it didn't have to be this way, but now it's this way. So either A is this: one, Rock is not a double agent at this point. Two, this must be another way to make Rock a double agent by making it look real that he beat up Cody and probably will still turn on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Three, honestly, this feels like more of Rock versus Cody for WrestleMania than it does Cody versus Roman Reigns for WrestleMania, because The Rock has basically been the biggest thing out of this whole feud at this point, that you kind of forget that it's even Cody versus Roman for WrestleMania. And SmackDown clearly kind of told you that in a way too, given that promo they did last Friday. But this was great stuff here. This was a great Monday Night Raw, especially over in Chicago or whatnot. They had to make it look big going into the WrestleMania. So yeah, they got a lot of things going on and stuff. Like I said, other than the biggest things I could say out of this was obviously The Rock, Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk's promo throughout the whole night. That was probably the best things out of this whole show. It was like the beginning, Punk, and then the end, and that was the best stuff out of the whole show. Okay, everything else, like, it was good, but I'm just going by what they had for the best and whatever they got more going into Philadelphia. They got Meek Mill coming to WrestleMania now. Hey, you better watch out for Diddy. Yeah, Meek maybe better watch out for Diddy, man. You know, it's getting real zesty out here, if you get what I'm saying. But I'm sure everybody would know the joke to that if they know. But yeah, Raw tonight. Great episode. Really great stuff. But the best things on here was The Rock, Cody, and CM Punk. Okay, so I enjoyed this show. Definitely enjoyable show tonight for Monday Night Raw. So yeah, great stuff. Other than that, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at HoodieKnight890. I'm out of here. I'll see y'all then. Peace out.